Welcome back, all you cool cats and kittens.
Oh,
Fuck
gee.
Carol Baskin.
Fuck Carol Baskin.
God damn husband killing hussy.
Mm.
Fucking just a absolute train wreck. But you know it's not a train wreck? This show, because we're here, we're gonna kick names, and we're gonna take ass, and vice versa.
All right.
Yeah, all in one night.
I'm down.
So yeah, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Hope you all had a great weekend of quarantine. It's day 7 for me, and I had one day out of the house. Um, you know, so it was. It's been all right. It hasn't been super bad. I went a little delirious today, but I think it should calm down. I did drink a lot of cold brew this morning, so that's probably what did it. But by the way, Madison G's, I guess, Geis, whatever. Yeah. I guess that's how you say it. Happy birthday, Steven. A whole new year for the co-host with the mo-host.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Another year older.
Finally 26 years old.
27.
Oh, well, close enough.
Close enough. I'm surprised that you were even close.
I was going to say 22, but, whatever. All good. What'd you do for your birthday?
I can't really talk about what I did for my birthday, but I worked, and now I'm home. That's
all right. Well,
pretty much all I can say.
At least you don't have coronavirus that we know of. Yet.
I plead the fifth.
Yet.
I can't say shit.
Anyways.
But yeah, it's been an interesting birthday. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Weird day.
Well, everybody has those from time to time. So is this live from Asia? This is not live from Asia. This is live from America, land of the free, home of the goddamn brave, and a wrongfully accused Tiger King. So we're going to get into the Tiger King tonight. It's not really a movie, right? But we decided it's such a cultural phenomenon right now that it deserves the stylings of two guys in a trailer.
Absolutely. I mean, you need our opinion on this.
Absolutely. Above just about everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, also, who else was going to solve this murder case?
The murder of Carol Baskin's husband.
Of Don.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Rest in peace, Don.
Absolute legend. Taken from us too soon by that murdering bitch, Carol Baskins. But we'll get into that. The evidence is irrefutable.
Yeah. So I feel it's only right, seeing how this is an episodic documentary. I think it's only right we give a little bit of time to each one of the episodes and then give a rating as a whole, right? So the way we're going to look at this, the way we always look at everything, is we're going to go by genre, we're going to go by entertainment, we're going to go by production value, we're going to go by storytelling, all that kind of stuff as we normally would, but we're going to look at it as a whole piece of work and not just a song off the album. We're going to look at the entire album.
Speaking of song off an album,
Okay, let's start there. So we meet Joe Exotic.
Songbird of our generation.
I would venture to say his voice is that of Fergie and Jesus.
Well, I mean, whoever he hired to sing the songs, absolutely.
Well, there's no proof that that's not him singing.
I mean, there's 100% proof in that you hear the man talk.
Well, that's all conjecture. That can't be proven. I mean, you could talk like Mr. Smithers off of The Simpsons and have a voice like Freddie Mercury. It's just stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have not happened than the things that happened in Tiger King.
Now that is irrefutable.
This is the epitome of strange things.
Dude, that is what it like. If you introduced me to a person, right, and said, this is a stereotypical Texas trailer park tornado, it would look like Joe Exotic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's literally just a catastrophe. That whole human being is just a catastrophe.
Yeah. And everything surrounding it. It's like it had to be the perfect shitstorm for this to happen. This man, it's hard not to just dive right in. This man ran for governor.
Yeah.
In a state in the United States, like not a third world country, like in the United States, he ran for governor and got 20% of the state's vote.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's crazy. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Did he get 20% of the overall vote, or did he get 20% of the libertarian vote?
I don't know. But he should have got 20% of nothing except maybe the people in like the insane asylums. Like, that's the only demographic he should have gotten 20% of the vote from.
Well, he's getting... I look at it like this, man. If you follow the characters in the story who are not currently dead or locked up in prison, rest in peace, Carol Baskin's husband, that murderous bitch. But if you follow the people, it's either... I think there's only one of two ways you can look at this thing. It's either he is the most unfortunate human being on the fucking planet, or he is getting fucked at every turn he makes.
In chat, one of our most credible sources of all time, Mr. Gary Jiziorsky, says that he got 19% of the state vote.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I agree. But, I look at it like this. He's a very charismatic person. He seems like a pretty genuine person. I personally like the guy. I think he's fucking hilarious. And if this was all done as like a giant troll to feed his ego, then well played. Like, well fucking played. If this is really how he is, it kind of ruins my faith in humanity a little bit. That like, he exists. Like, that's a person.
So when you were watching this show, I had this experience in which I hated everyone in the show.
Yes.
And that's the first time that I've ever had that with like one of these Netflix docu series or whatever they call them, right? Like, usually there's like a person in this, and you're like, okay, well, that's clearly the person I'm supposed to be rooting for. On this one, it's like, I didn't like, for entertainment value, I liked Joe Exotic. Like, very entertaining guy.
Yes.
But as a person, like, all of these people are fucking insane. Like, this whole free Joe Exotic thing, it's like, personally, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's not like they put in prison the next Bill Gates. Okay?
I disagree with you. I disagree with you.
Nothing as a society.
I disagree with you, man. I think he's probably one of the best showmen on the planet. He's He's a hell of an actor. He's a fucking just a musical phenomenon.
Jesus Christ.
Right? Look at his style. Look at the picture behind you. Look at the picture behind you. Who the fuck else can pull off? Who the fuck else can pull off a Fu Manchu, a mullet, and a sequined leopard print top like that? Who else?
Yeah, I mean,
white Wranglers and cowboy boots with a fucking leg brace on the outside. Who else is pulling that off?
Yeah.
He's a skinny, gay, redneck Homer Simpson.
It's a train wreck. This is like trying to describe a car accident to someone. Like, so I'm gonna jump from place to place because that's kind of what the fucking series does.
Okay, so let's start as best we can with the timeline. Episode 1, right? You meet all the main characters. You see that you see a fair amount of Joe's backstory, how he got started, how he brought the park into be, how he got his staff, how all of the things sort of came together from his end. And then you go into some of the beginnings of the struggles with the animal rights groups and Carole Baskin. So episode 2 was probably the beginning of episode 2 and the entirety of episode 3 were probably my favorite episodes, because at the beginning of episode 2 you see the person lose their fucking arm, right? And
she seemed cool, by the way.
Oh yeah, very cool. I think she's probably the only person in that movie I didn't wind up hating outside of Joe.
Yeah, like she seemed all right.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, still clearly something is still going on there because she's willing to do that work for $120 a week.
Yeah.
Like, so something's going on, and then like she got her arm bit off, and like she's back at work the next day. I mean, okay, but
I think she said it was like a week and a half, 10 days maybe, and she was back in the park.
I'd be out for like
forever.
Forever.
Oh, I'd be out for good.
Yeah, I'm not going around the
time. Like, okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna collect disability. I'll be okay.
Hey man, when are you coming back to work? Never.
Yeah, I'm not.
Was bit off by a tiger.
Dude, I would have changed my phone number. They wouldn't have been able to call me and find out when I was coming back.
I'm gone. Like,
this number has been disconnected. Go fuck yourself.
I'm leaving that $120 a week job and going to work for like McDonald's. I'm tripling my salary, and I'm not around tigers.
So here's my question, because I like animals. Obviously, I've got a small menagerie in my house, but can't you at least see the allure to owning a big cat? Because I personally, one of these little homemade backyard zoos exists in my city, which shocker, right? But a roommate of mine that Brittany knows pretty well, actually, Robbie, he dated a girl whose parents owned said zoo, right? I came home from work one night and literally was lighting a joint as I got out of my car. I get to the top of the steps. I'm done with it. So I'm fried off of my ass. I go in the living room and there's a fucking tiger cub.
Yep.
Like an 8-week-old legitimate fucking tiger cub in the middle of my living room. And I'm like, yo, what in the fuck is going on here? And Robbie's girlfriend's like, no, you can play with him. You can play with him. And I got to say, tigers are cool as fuck. Now, I don't know about a 900-pound alpha male tiger if that's exactly what I want to be in a fucking cage with. But I can see the allure that people want to pet these little animals. They want to play with those, get that close to the wild side.
Well, and I told you, but I had one of my grandfathers, he had a pet cougar that he had since like a baby cub. And when we were kids, it would come in the house and we would play with it and pet it. And it was the fucking coolest thing ever, dude. That thing was fucking awesome. And I mean, obviously it grew into a fucking full-size cougar that had to live in a cage because otherwise it would kill everyone. But it was super cool. So I get the allure of it, and I get that, like, if you met somebody like as enigmatic as Joe, and he tells you, you know, I've got 250 tigers at my place. Why don't you come work for me? I get it. Like, it's not that hard of a sell, especially to somebody that just literally came into that town, is looking for work, and doesn't have many options.
Yeah, they're homeless, they're addicted, and this dude comes in and says, "Hey, I'll give you a place to live, a couple bucks to put in your pocket, and by the way, we kind of got a meth dealer that works here."
Yeah, like, and you don't even have to pay for food because you can just eat all the expired meat off of the Walmart
truck. Off the Walmart truck.
They start cooking pizzas and you expired meat for topping. Like, everything in this movie is just insane.
Yeah, who's ever heard of a bologna pizza?
Yeah, it's like, God damn, dude. Every time I was like, well, it can't get any crazier. It was like, hold my beer. Because not only do we have Joe, but then you meet Doc, this man who owns a private zoo and has his own harem of women that work for him for no money. And, like, I'm assuming, you know, polish his sword on the regular to you know, use the expression. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about? He's married to however many different women. He's got like three or four different wives, and then he's got all the women that work there, and they've worked there for like 20 to 30 years or some shit. It's fucking crazy, man. And then you've got the fucking Scarface looking motherfucker that is also owning this private zoo, and he was like a fucking drug dealer back in the day.
I wouldn't say he was a drug dealer. I would say like he was a drug kingpin.
Yeah, and he fucking murdered. Was he murdered a DEA agent or some shit?
Yeah, well, he was there when it happened.
Yeah, which apparently is okay. You can be there for the murder as long as.
Yeah, guilt by association doesn't work anymore. Apparently.
You can order the hit just as long as you don't commit it, unless you're Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
There's a double standard.
That brings up something that I definitely wanted to touch on, right? That, and obviously we're going to get to Carol and the disappearance of her husband, because I think Stephen has some newly uncovered evidence that may crack the case. But how do you feel about the charges? How do you feel about the sentence that he got? 22 years on 19 counts.
Here's what I think. I think that they, in that town, they considered Joe a problem, right? And so they used this as a way to deal with that problem. So they had some charges, and they made him stick. That's to me. That's all this is. It's the same way I feel about what they did to the guy in Making a Murderer that first time.
Okay.
Right. They considered they thought he was a problem. He's, you know, he's not a contributing member to society. He doesn't do anything for this town. He's a piece of shit. Let's just pin it on him and we'll get rid of him. I think that's what they did to Joe. Now, did he do it? I think he did. I mean, I think he did obviously, I think he wanted her dead. Now, I don't buy that he's stupid enough to pay that Allen guy $3,000 and think he's going to get a hit. And why would he pay him up front?
Yeah.
That's the thing I can't wrap my head around. Like, you don't have to be that smart to be like, you get half now, half when the job's done, right? Like, if you've ever watched any movie, that's what
that's kind of standard protocol.
Like, I don't pay somebody to fix my truck and I just pay them up front. Like, you pay after the job's done, right? So I have a hard time believing that. But, and then with that Jeff Lowe guy, and it's a whole thing. So I don't know how guilty he is, but I think even if he was completely guilty, I don't think he deserved 22 years in prison.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think the guy that was going to commit the hit should be walking out.
No, scot-free, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
Well, there's a couple of very strange things in this thing that I think, because Jeff Lowe is a very egotistical human being. I think there were several things in this documentary where he opened his mouth when he should have kept it shut, but he doesn't know how to, right? Yeah. Just like Joe Exotic. He doesn't know how to keep his fucking mouth shut when he's supposed to, right? But the dude's so egotistical that he thinks he's untouchable. And then he goes into detail on how him and the other guy pulled up the fucking thing on Google Earth to say, this is where she lives. This is the bike trail. You could put somebody in right here and they'd never fucking hear the shot go off. Now, Steven, if I was going to punch you in the fucking mouth, right? And I talked about it for fucking years. I've talked to you personally, right? And I've talked about, I'm going to punch that motherfucker in the face when I see him. I'm going to punch him in his face when I see him. And somebody comes up and goes, yo, give me a couple bucks. I'll punch him in the fucking mouth. Well, how serious are you? I mean, give me a couple bucks. We'll find out. Do you think you would have ever gotten hit in the mouth if somebody didn't coerce me into saying, well, fuck, I don't have to do it now?
Right. Well, they even asked, right? This was my second favorite part in the whole series, just because of the sheer stupidity of it. They asked Jeff Lowe, did you set up Joe Exotic? And he says, well, I mean, I guess if setting someone up is encouraging them to do something and then secretly recording them behind their back and then turning them into the proper authorities is setting someone up, then I guess, I mean, that's literally the dictionary definition of setting someone up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you look in Merriam-Webster's dictionary, that's what the fuck it says for the definition.
And I don't understand how they can't use this documentary as evidence to say this was clearly conspiracy. Did he? Okay, so the 19 counts. There was one count of murder for hire. Yep. There was one count of something else. Those were the two that were very shaky. The other 17 counts were brought up by Fish and Wildlife. Did he sell tigers? Absolutely. Yeah. Did he illegally breed tigers? Quite possibly. Did he, these 17 other counts, did he euthanize tigers? He even admitted to it. So, yes, guilty as charged. Are any of those worth 22 years in fucking prison? I don't think so.
No, and like the tiger graveyard, right? That was like one of the smoking guns, right? Oh, he killed tigers. And they play it off as like he did it, I don't know, like when he got mad at him or some shit.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, apparently those tigers, he had already had vets come out and confirm that they were needing to be put down. So they knew that he had put them down. It wasn't like a secret. And it was 5 tigers. So if this guy, like you would think that if this guy enjoyed killing tigers, he has like 300, why would he stop at 5?
Yeah.
Right. And second, if he got pissed off every time a tiger did something to him, like there was the one that attacked his fucking leg.
Yeah. Right? That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that one's still walking around fine, right?
Like they caught him, they got him on video getting dragged halfway across this pen by a full-grown tiger in like eat mode.
Yeah.
And he instead of shooting in the head, which is what a normal person, that's what I would have done. A tiger starts dragging me and I got a gun on my hip, a bullet is going through his skull.
Yeah, especially if you've already done it, like for that reason, right?
Yeah.
So like, you could say, well, maybe he was putting on an act because there were cameras on him, but that's not a very compelling argument. Like your instincts kick in at that.
No, because he did a bunch of dumb shit while the cameras were on.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think he. I don't know. I don't think he abused the animals by any means. I really don't. Like, I don't think, I mean, did he do wrong by selling the Cubs and breed and all that shit? Yes, because it's against the law. So it's wrong. Yeah, he should have faced fines probably. But 22 years in prison? Come on, man.
Now,
you're fucking high.
One of the word on the street is that obviously Joe Exotic has picked up a lot of steam. He is making money off of this documentary hand over fist. He's one of the hottest people on the fucking internet right now. He's definitely going up in the country music standing, the album sales and stuff like that, in the charts. You gotta think that word on the street has some validity, because the word out there is that they're using some of the documentary to get some of those cases reversed, like the murder for hire. That's the big one. That's the big one.
Well, if that falls, it's a lot easier to make everything else fall.
Yeah. Well, there's at minimum, there's proof of perjury, and there's also proof that the people who built the people who built the case for the FBI and for Fish and Wildlife, clearly they had exterior motives.
Yeah.
So I think, dude, I would not be surprised if it went back to trial and Joe's acquitted. It would not surprise me.
I could see it. I mean, like I said, I think he'd probably still get some fines, because he did break laws.
Yeah, he might serve 2 or 3 years, 5 years.
Yeah, but I mean the 22-year thing, I don't see that sticking. I just don't. But so that's that portion of it. There's also, I'd like to discuss my favorite part of the series.
Okay.
By far.
I think I have an idea where this is going. But
my favorite part is that Joe Exotic is apparently able to do Jedi mind tricks. Okay? Because he was married to 2 men that both ended up being straight.
Mm-hmm.
The second guy, his second husband, was a 19-year-old kid that came to work for him that was straight, right? And they're talking about it. Joe's like, well, how straight are you? Pretty straight.
That's where we were going.
And he's like, I'm pretty straight. He's like, well, do you watch porn? Yeah, watch porn. All right, well, when you're watching it, do you watch the guys with the little ones or the guys with the big ones? Well, the big ones. You ain't that straight. A week later, they're getting fucking married.
Yeah.
What kind of Jedi fucking mind trick is that, man?
That's called methamphetamine.
Yeah, like, that's crazy to me. Like, absolutely insane. And then his other husband ends up knocking up the secretary, and now he's married with a fucking kid.
Yeah.
And he says, I was never gay. I was just on meth. So if anything, this is a warning sign against meth.
Yeah. So of that 22 years, just thinking about it pragmatically, of that 22 years, he might serve 10 or 12. So you're looking at Joe Exotic being out in 2027, 28, something like that, because he's already been in 1.5 years, 2 years. So,
yeah.
Well, I guess coming up on 1 year, because that was in early 19. So he's getting close to 1.5 years. So, I mean, we could see him. What the hell? We could see him back out in 2028, 2029, something like that.
Releasing killer music videos
dude.
and songs. And
those
running for governor and president and all kinds of shit.
Oh.
That's the world that I want to live in.
Do you think they came out with this too early?
No. I think it was the right time, dude. I don't think if we were all fucking quarantined right now, that it would have done nearly as good as it did. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was the perfect timing for this documentary. Because it's like, if I, like, just be honest, if like during the course of my regular life, if I saw Tiger King, a documentary on Netflix, I'm not watching that.
But I probably would have, to be honest with you, because I like shit like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't have done it for me. Like I'd have been like,
yeah, there are several people that have watched this thing cover to cover and gotten way too deep into it. But you got to look at it like this, man. One of your buddies says, dude, you got to watch this. It is a fucking nightmare wrapped in a train wreck, wrapped in a trailer park. Your interest is going to be piqued. And the first episode is shot well enough and edited well enough to where it makes you want to watch episode 2. Now, and they come out swinging in episode 2 with the girl getting her fucking arm bit off. And then you meet Carol and her weird ass husband. That dude definitely watches her fuck.
100%. Like that guy.
That dude is a definition of a cuck.
100%. He keeps his socks on when they're doing it. Like he's that guy. Like I don't know. But you know what? If I married some chick that possibly killed her ex-husband before me, I'm probably going to be that way too. But obviously, I'm not stupid enough to do that. But before we get into Carole Baskin, because that's going to take a little time to discuss.
Okay.
Right. I do want to talk about like.
First of all, don't you mean that bitch Carole Baskin?
That bitch Carole Baskin.
Okay.
This, like, because we have to talk about it from a somewhat like how it was made, right? Was it made good? Was it made well?
Oh yeah.
For the most part, yes. But this is stretched out. It does not need to be 7 episodes. Okay, this is about 6 hours worth of fucking content, and it probably could have been knocked down to about 3 or 4. Just being honest, half of this documentary is somebody narrating something, and then footage that has nothing to do with what's being talked about right now. And there's a lot of that. I
agree. There's fat.
Yeah, like a lot. Like if you boil it down, like, you've got the story of Joe Exotic, what's going on, and then you've got that Carole Baskin shit, and it all could be tied in about a 3-hour to 4-hour little miniseries. But they stressed out to damn near 7 hours, and they're apparently coming out with more episodes. So,
yep, this week.
So that to me, it's well made, it's well shot. I'll give it all that. But it's stretched way the fuck out.
But you're
never bored.
But there's so much stuff that's packed into it. I can see where you're going with this. That like, yeah, there may be some fat that could be cut, but like, okay, for instance, the Thanksgiving thing where they had the big, the big spread out there for everybody. That whole part could have been done away with. And that's 20 minutes worth of content, right? But if you didn't have that, right? If you didn't have that, further on in the documentary where he references that, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, and I get that.
So it adds everything in there, even the fat adds some flavor.
It to a certain extent, but it does a lot of that shit where, like I said, it's just footage, and it doesn't have. It'll be fucking Joe just standing there looking off into the sunset. Like that doesn't need to be in there.
Yeah,
it contributes nothing. It's just filler. That's all it is. It's they said we're going to make each episode 40 to 45 minutes. They got a roadmap of how they were going to do it. They put each episode, and okay, this one's about 30 minutes long. We need 15 minutes of fucking filler. And they splice in all this different footage throughout the episode that contributes nothing to the overall arc of the story, but it's there literally to stretch the time. That's all it is.
But you got to admit, anytime the camera is on Joe Exotic, you don't know what's going to happen. But by the end of it, you're really glad that they had that camera on.
Yeah. It's just a thing that I noticed. I noticed it more with this than I did with like Making a Murderer, right? And I compare this to Making a Murderer just because they're both Netflix documentaries. They're both, in the same vein of the way that they kind of handle the situation. Making a Murderer, it was like you had the past that was established, you had the first case, right? And there's nothing in there for the most part that needs to be cut out, right? Like everything in there, like, okay, you have to establish what kind of person this guy was. Then you have to establish what the crime was, and then the trial, right? Like all of that needs to be in there. Whereas this, I didn't necessarily feel that way. There's a lot of shit in here that just doesn't need to be in here to tell this story. That's all I'm getting at. I just think there's a lot of filler. Is it all shot well? Sure, but it's just, it's like the fucking Irishman. Yeah. Fucking 3.5 hours long. It didn't need to be 3.5 hours long.
Yeah, they could have done the same thing in 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, this didn't need to be 7 hours long at all. It didn't need to be 7 episodes, or they could have knocked each episode down to 30 minutes.
Yeah. So Florida Boy 420 brings up a good question. Did Joe set the fire or no?
It wouldn't surprise me if he did.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Joe did not set the fire, because the person that set the fire, they clearly caught on security camera footage. And when you're talking about how a person walks, it's called your gait. The gait that person was walking with, Joe couldn't pull off because he had a bum right leg. And the direction he was headed, his right side was facing the camera, and there was no brace visible. Now, could he take the brace off? Sure. Would he walk different without the brace? Possibly. But I'm pretty sure the brace is there for a reason. Therefore, he would definitely walk different without the brace. But he would walk just way worse.
Well, and I think the question is, did he hire someone to do it?
And that is a possibility. Yeah. Now, but that goes into, he didn't set the fire, but he may know who did it.
Yeah, I think could he have gotten pissed off at that dude and said, fuck that, you don't own me, burn that motherfucker down and burn all of his shit up? Absolutely. I wouldn't put it past him. Makes sense. He is a bit of an egomaniac, and he doesn't like the idea of thinking that somebody else owns his shit. So would he set that up? Probably. I mean, if you think he was willing to have that bitch Carol Baskins murdered, you got to think he'd be willing to burn down some shit. Leo, that would be the Ruger. That's the pistol that doesn't fire without
So yeah, let's dig into that. Let's dig into that,
dude.
So
that was crazy.
I think that was episode 4. And that's when they're coming off of the Carol Baskin murder, potential murder of her husband, the disappearance of her husband. They're coming off of that, and the shows have kind of slowed down a little bit. The story's kind of at a point where there's nothing overly dramatic happening. And then Travis.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Travis. I hate to say it this way, man, but you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yep.
And if you're dumb enough to put a gun to your head and pull the trigger, if a bullet comes out of that bitch, you kind of deserve it.
Oh yeah, especially like he wasn't. I don't know. I've never. I can't wrap my head around that. I've never thought, like, even if I know a gun isn't loaded, I'm not putting it to my head and pulling the trigger. Yeah. Right? Like I just wouldn't do that. It's just me. Like I don't know. That's insane to me. And the reaction of the guy that's sitting in the chair and they catch it on video, like,
yeah,
I was like, I thought it was kind of a weird reaction, right? Like, how long did he just sit there?
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. It's shocking, right?
Dude, you got to think about it from his perspective too.
Right.
You just watch somebody you've had daily interactions with for the past year and a half just pop a hole in his fucking head.
Yeah, like, and I get it. Like, it would be shocking. I feel like, I don't know, the reaction would be like, oh my God. And you can help. Like,
well, you can't hear any audio on the surveillance, the security camera, but you can literally read. You can read his mind. Yeah, I mean, you can read his lips. Him going, Travis.
Yeah, stop fucking around.
Travis, are you okay?
Yeah, like, first of all, if that was a prank, that dude put in some serious money for special effects.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right? He saved up like fucking 20 weeks worth of pay to get that shit. But I don't know.
That it was weird. 200 weeks of pay.
Yeah, fucking Jesus Christ. It's just weird, dude. Everything in this show was weird. Everything in this show was weird.
Just one thing after another, and that dude with the big fucking tooth right in the middle, with no shirt on the entire.
Yeah, what the fuck? Put a shirt on, dude. Like, why the fuck? I don't know. Now, since we're talking about deaths and we're talking about wrongful deaths.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in. Episode 3.
The crux of this series.
Episode 3. We are introduced to the folly of Carol Baskin's second husband. And then, you go through the whole thing. You get to episode 6, I think it was. And it was the episode where Joe was attacked by the tiger. The tiger was super interested in his boot. And you could tell somebody had fucked with his boot because one boot was filthy and the other boot looked shiny clean, like somebody had just cleaned it, right? So you have this guy being dragged around in a tiger cage and then shoot some warning shots into the ground to get the tigers off of him. And then it jumps to a clip of Mrs. Baskin saying, and I quote, I mean, if you wanted the tiger to attack him, you cover the person in, I don't know, like sardine oil.
Yeah, sardine oil.
Not something they want to, not something they want to eat, not something they want to drool on. And then they cut to something else and somebody else starts talking and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Fucking roll that back. What did she just say?
Yeah, she explained how to get somebody mauled by a tiger, and then they go, okay, cool, so what's your favorite color? And they just rush right past it. Like, no, let's focus on this for a minute. Yeah. Why would you know that?
Yeah.
And why would you say that? Like, what the fuck? You stupid, crazy, psychopathic, murdering bitch. Like, why would you say that?
So what do you, with that being in the forefront of your mind, do you think she buried him under the fucking septic tank, or do you think she fed him to the tiger?
I don't know. But what I do know is that in however many years that I've been aware of wills, I have never heard of a will that was altered like a week before somebody's disappearance to include the phrase.
It was week after
to include the phrase in case of my death or disappearance.
Yeah. In the case of my disappearance.
Yes. That to me is insane. Right? They know for a fact that will was locked up in that trailer that they both admitted to breaking into. Carol, that she broke into, right? The alarm, the security system went off. She goes in there. The will's no longer in there. It comes back altered to include the clause in case of my disappearance. What in the fuck?
Yeah.
What backwoods ass fucking like town are you in where you're not immediately brought in for questioning.
Yeah.
Like, what? I'm not saying she murdered her husband, but she murdered her fucking husband, dude. Like, that's what happened. That's 100% what happened.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at all of the evidence, like, the guy clearly didn't fly to Costa Rica. He would have had to make 4 stops for fuel for that flight
over the Gulf of Mexico, nonetheless.
Yeah. So it's like, no, that didn't happen, right? Why, if he was going to disappear, why would he drive his fucking personal vehicle to the airport? Like, why would you do that? You're trying to disappear. You'd leave the fucking vehicle at your house. You're gone.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say, okay, well, he fucking flew somewhere. That narrows it down. You know, like, you're leaving no trail. That's the whole point of disappearing. Like, so it's all what's the word I'm looking? It's all circumstantial evidence. There's nothing set in stone, obviously, otherwise she would be in prison. But if you look at the circumstantial evidence, it definitely doesn't point in her favor. That's all I'm saying. Well, I think she's guilty as fuck.
Okay. So if you go to flight routes, if you just Google flight routes from Tampa, Florida to Costa Rica, it clearly takes you over the through the Gulf of Mexico. You could potentially stop for gas in Cuba, which, you know, that ain't happening. And then from there to Costa Rica, there's no other stops. You're over water the entire time. Like, not even a question. You're over water the entire time.
Right.
So even if you flew up higher than this aircraft is capable of going and you floated, you're not going to make it to the mainland to get fucking fuel.
Now, could he have crashed the fucking plane over the fucking, you know, Gulf or whatever and nobody found it? Maybe.
Sure.
But that's not nearly as interesting.
Yeah, sure. Right? He could have.
So, and it doesn't explain the behavior. It doesn't explain the timeline of when it happened. Right after he's about to ask her for a divorce, and she's feeling threatened that she's going to lose the entire thing that she's worked for, and she needs the financial backing from him to continue forward with the project. None of that gets explained. Why would the will be altered if it literally was just an accident? Like, none of that makes sense. None of that adds up. So something happened.
There's a lot of times in this entire documentary that 2 and 2 equals 37.
Yes.
Like, shit just does not add up.
No, like, not at all. There's so much stuff. Like, it's like every, and it's not just one side. That's the thing. That's what's weird about this. There's nobody to fucking root for. Like,
yeah, but I think there is.
Even though I don't think Joe Exotic is guilty of the conspiracy to commit murder or anything, I don't think he's a good person. I mean, I don't. He's charismatic, sure. He's funny, he's entertaining, and that's all great. But you know who else was charismatic? Fucking Hitler. Doesn't mean he's a good person. Well, and I'm not saying Joe Exotic is Hitler, but I'm just saying.
You kind of just said Joe Exotic was Hitler.
Charisma doesn't make you a good person. All right. And if you look at everything that guy did over the course of his life, I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're going to spend 90% of your time talking about how you would kill a certain woman that you dislike, and then that woman ends up missing, or you know what I'm saying, or something like that, you can't be all surprised when they come at your door asking you questions. And that's kind of what the fuck happened. They found a conspiracy to somebody to commit her murder, and all they had to do was pull up his fucking podcast and be like, dude, right here you said you'd shoot her twice if she came on your property, one time to watch her squirm. Like, of course we're going to think it's you. You know, like, as far as motive goes.
Yeah, you literally have all of it.
Yeah, and it's not like we had to press you for it. You fucking volunteered that information to the entire fucking world. So, like, That's the weird thing about this movie. This show. There's no protagonist for me. There was nobody to root for. It was just like I said, it was like watching a train wreck and just kind of watching it for the entertainment value.
Yeah, it's definitely entertaining.
Yeah, it is
100%.
It's entertaining, but it's entertaining in like a really kind of like an informal way. Like it's not
sad, kind of bizarre.
Yeah, it's not like a normal story structure. Or it's just weird. It's like I don't know. I felt dirty watching it. Like I enjoyed it, but I hated myself for enjoying it. Like that's the way that I felt after.
That's
like,
the best way I've ever heard it explained.
Yeah, I binge watched this shit in less than a day, and by the end of it, like I was just like, that was great. I hate myself. Like that's how I felt.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
No. So, what would you rate this? Because for me, I don't think I can give this a numerical rating.
You can. You can. You have to because that's our MO.
Yeah, but our MO is also to review movies, and this isn't a movie.
It kind of is.
So I feel we can break away from tradition.
No.
I can't give this a rating. I can't.
Yes, you can.
Because there's nothing. I mean, like, what am I going to rate? I don't like the filmmaking, like from it. Like, it's not what anybody gives a shit about. Like, it's just, is this entertaining or not? Is really essentially what this boils down to. Is this entertaining or not? Is this worth a watch? It's for free, so I don't have to recommend whether you buy it or not. Like, so okay. Is this something that you should watch?
Is it worth watching?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Right. I would say if you have Netflix and you're looking for something to watch, this should be up towards the top of what you're looking to watch.
So,
right.
So it would be safe to assume that you'd give it about a 4.
Right. And I thought about that.
Okay.
And then I compare this to the other things that I've given 4s. And that's why I'm saying this doesn't stack up. Like to a movie that I would give a 4, this is not a 4. Right. And then to a movie that I would give like a 3, this maybe isn't that low. So I could cop out and say it's a 3.5, but that doesn't feel justifying to then me say that you have to watch it. So that's what I'm saying. For me, the numerical system, it just doesn't work on this. Well, I'm going to just give it that you must see it.
I'm giving it a 4. I'm giving it a 4.5. So we're going to wind up with an 8.5 because I'm a documentary fan. I love these series that are split up into multiple episodes. You can binge them if you want to and watch, 7 hours of some gay redneck gun-toting, mullet-sporting, Prince Albert having Tiger Commander, right? If you want to, or you can watch fucking 1 episode a week and stretch it out for 2 months.
That's what I'm saying. I think it is a must-see. I really do. But you just said it would be an 8.5?
Yeah.
Like, go look at the movies that we've given 8.5s to.
Okay. Let's see. On our list of 8.5s, we have Snowpiercer.
This isn't as good as Snowpiercer.
We have, let's see, 6 Underground.
Not as good as 6 Underground.
We have The Hunt.
Not as good as The Hunt. Okay. See, that's what I'm getting at. Like, and so if you consider like, okay, if we're giving this a numerical score just on like a docuseries, okay, we'll give it an 8, 8.5, whatever. That's fine. But on our normal score.
No, an 8 would require you to give it a 3.5.
Or an 8.5, sorry, on the docuseries scale, right? Like if we're just specifically documentaries. Statistically.
Okay.
If we're giving this just strictly a documentary scale, right? What would we give this on a documentary? Okay, I'll give it an 8, 8.5, whatever. But on our normal scale, this doesn't feel like an 8.5. It just doesn't. This does not fit, I don't think.
Okay, so how about we do this? Because I really feel like we have to stick to our fucking framework here. How about we give it I'll concede half a point. We'll give it an 8 across the board. right? That puts it in line with Your Next, Uncut Gems, Spencer Confidential, but we'll put an asterisk out beside it, right? And that asterisk needs further explanation.
Okay.
As to why it got that rating.
Yeah.
Because I want to keep with we got to keep with our theme.
No, I get it. It was just a weird one for me. Like I thought about it a lot. I was like, I just don't know how it fits into a numerical score.
Yeah.
You know.
So, well, there you have it. That's Tiger King. Next week we're bringing some fucking flamethrower action, apparently, because we're doing the movie 1917.
Yes.
And what?
Oh, I thought you were going to pick the second one.
Oh.
Since I picked 1917. And
okay.
This is two guys in the trailer.
Okay. I don't know. We'll have to I tell you what, give us some thoughts on current run movies out there that you guys want to watch with us.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely do 1917 because that was agreed on last night.
And if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend that you watch it.
Okay, D-Bone brings up one that I think flew under a lot of people's radar. Dude Bro Party Massacre 3. This was a Kickstarter movie that came about in 2015. That was the entire movie was completely crowdfunded, and it was shot in the B movie style, like the 1980s B movie horror style.
My favorite.
But it's a comedy horror, so it leans pretty heavy on the comedy.
We can do that.
So you want to do Dude Bro Party Massacre 3?
TJ is saying Coffee and Kareem, and then John Glasscock is saying Ford versus Ferrari. Gary is saying, Dakota Phillips is saying Bloodshot. So what we could do.
You want to do Bloodshot?
Well, what we could do, if you want, is since we're getting a couple of different suggestions, we could leave it to a vote between the people. They could I could do an Instagram post with a couple of these suggestions and have them vote, or they could put in comments what they want, and then whichever one gets the most comments, we'll do it instead of making it. Or if you just want to pick one, we pick one. I don't care.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll put up. Let's do this because Bone got in first. Let's take Bone's suggestion for next week. So we'll do 1917 and Dude Bro Party Massacre 3. And then the following week, we'll take Ford versus Ferrari, Bloodshot, and what was the other one?
Coffee and Kareem.
Coffee and Kareem.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Nor do I. Coffee and Kareem is on Netflix. Okay, so we'll put up a post on Instagram. Our Instagram name is down here, obviously. So Leo, we're not going to review these nuts because they're old and saggy. But
yeah, if I had to give them a rating, I'd probably give it about a 1.
Yeah, 0.5 inches lower than they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll put up a thing on Instagram and go over there and vote. We'll do a X1, X2, X3, X4 type deal and see what you guys want to talk about.
And if y'all want, just in the comments, like after this is no longer live, You have to wait until we're no longer live. Go in the comments and leave suggestions on what movies y'all want us to do. And if we get like a movie that gets a bunch of comments on it or something, then we'll move that up in the queue. It's kind of hard to pinpoint what everybody wants. We're getting 20 different suggestions.
Yeah.
So if there's one that it either gets a lot of likes, like people want that one to get, or it gets a bunch of different comments of the same movie, then we'll know that there's quite a few people that want to see it, and that would make it a lot easier on us.
Okay. Sounds like a plan, homie.
Oh, did you see Patrick King's question?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that on Wednesday night on the other channel. This channel's not about anything related.
I didn't know if you wanted to bring it up or not.
Yeah, I appreciate him, keeping it in the foreground, but that's not what this channel was designed for. So we're gonna build this as its own thing, and continue to kick ass and take names. Any last words of wisdom on this Monday night?
Let's band together and bring Carol Baskins to justice.
Yep.
Spread the word.
I say we raise our fists in the air and protest that Carol Baskin is walking free after she murdered her husband and fed him to a tiger and made it look like he flew to Costa Rica, which is impossible. And Joe Exotic, the goddamn Tiger King, is behind bars.
Exactly. And let's also get Allen in prison because I don't like that guy. And Jeff Lowe.
Oh, yeah. Jeff Lowe. Fuck that guy.
The guy that he paid.
Oh, yeah. Allen.
Yeah. Both of those guys need to be in prison.
Yeah, fuck them dudes.
I say we trade both of them for Joe.
I say we trade all three of them for Joe.
Oh, yeah, you're right. 3 for the price of 1. Come on, justice system. You can't beat that.
Yeah,
let's do it.
We're literally giving it to you.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, love, peace, and chicken grease. We will see you next week.
Later, guys.